Fans of American Horror Story have been expecting, and frankly waiting for, the major twist episode to arrive, and it did in the most recent chapter, aptly titled Episode 100, and written by the show's creators, Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. I'm Redcranke, and this is your Death Curse Society Slash Report. What the fuck was that? Is that what Zach was talking about? We're going to be talking about American Horror Story 1984. Let's dive in. In a cheap motel in 1985, we hear Billy Idol blaring that wakes up a guest. The woman knocks on Richard Ramirez's door, who grabs her and tries to pull her inside the room. Benjamin Richter, aka Mr. Jingles, yells at him to stop, and Ramirez releases the woman. Richter is tired of all the killing that Ramirez has gotten him involved with over the last year. Later, outside a small neighborhood store, Richter buys a newspaper with Ramirez's photo prominently on the front page and hands it to a lady standing outside. He nods in the direction of Ramirez inside, and he is captured as Richter drives off drinking a tab. Ah, the 80s. Tab will bring out the sass in you. Tab after tab. Back at Camp Redwood, the year is now 1989, and a photographer is wandering around snapping pics of the local wildlife and scenery. He approaches the dock, discovering Madison sunbathing. After a bit of flirtation, Madison stabs him in the stomach and chest. As a few random counselor ghosts appear, so does Xavier, praising Madison's latest kill and calling next. The violence is quickly snuffed by the theme from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, a television show from the era, as well as the distinctive voice of host Robin Leach. It seems Margaret, who has become a real estate mogul specializing in the macabre properties, is the main focus of this episode. She currently owns John Wayne Gacy's ranch house, Spawn's Movie Ranch, Winchester Mystery House, and Briarcliff Manor from American Horror Story Asylum. She is also now married to Trevor, who she tried to kill, but later manipulated her into a sugar mama relationship. In front of the cameras they play the happy couple, but behind the scenes the marriage is one of convenience and bitter beyond compare. It seems Margaret has turned away from God and found cash to be her driving force now. Trevor wants out of the deal, but they are interrupted by Margaret's assistant, Courtney, who tells him that Brooke is scheduled to be executed after losing her last appeal. Brooke, in chains, interesting band name. She's transported to San Quentin and meets the warden, played by Nick Chinland. Although Brooke seems to have adjusted to her life in custody, she still appears a bit jumpy, but puts on a strong face when Ramirez speaks to her from his own cell. They exchange a few words and Brooke is marched to her cell. While she lies alone, Ramirez is able to use his dark powers to talk into her brain, or is she imagining it all? He details how she will die by execution, which shakes Brooke to her core, revealing she's not quite as strong as she portrays herself to be in public. Suddenly, Ramirez appears in front of her, in her cell, offering her a chance to make a deal with the devil. Her only response is, "Fuck off." Back at camp, Ray is complaining to Madison and Xavier about the dead body rotting on the dock. Ray seems to be the moral compass of the group, while Madison and Xavier are just murdering anyone who happens upon the camp, which soon includes the photographer's girlfriend, whom Xavier dispatches rather quickly. Ray storms off, saying he's done cleaning up after the murderous duo. While discussing a few failed real estate purchases with her assistant, Margaret learns of the latest murders at Camp Redwood. And then she decides to turn into a moneymaker by hosting a food and music festival over Halloween. She even holds a press conference right in front of the dock where there is still blood from the latest crimes. Ched is watching from the trees and exposes his intention of revenge on Margaret for drowning him in the lake. Meanwhile, in Alaska... Alright. Richter is a whole new man with a wife and child. Both of them are in places of redemption, we learn, once she reminds Richter she was once a prostitute, and he gives her the news of a possible promotion at his job. A blockbuster-style video store called Video Shack. Nice. The Camp Redwood Music Festival is featured on the news during a simple dinner later that night, and Richter tells his bride he's free from the spell of Camp Redwood. But is he really? An unknown redhead shows up to visit Ramirez in prison, who tells him about the Camp Redwood Festival, featuring Billy Idol as the headliner. Ramirez seems to fixate on the rest of the lineup, which he calls one-hit wonders, and explains that once the 80s are over, they will be too. He also laments Brooke's last night on Earth, claiming she has skills. Brooke is walking the Green Mile and rejects a plea from the priest to save her soul. She also rejects Ramirez, who offers her one more chance to ride or die with Satan. Ramirez then prays to Satan himself during a simple ritual in his cell, which seems to transport his spirit through a ventilation system and into an unsuspecting guard, who releases Ramirez. Brooke reiterates her innocence to an unseen Margaret through the one-way mirror before she is executed. Once she is pronounced dead and the witnesses leave unimpressed, especially Margaret, who wishes the guillotine was still in style. In the prison morgue, a hooded figure administers an injection to Brooke, who snaps awake and finds that Donna, or Nurse Rita, or whatever the fuck her name is under the hood, welcoming her back with a simple line, "Welcome back to the land of the living." Richter returns from a long shift at work to find his wife slaughtered and a note with his screaming baby that reads, "Satan will have his revenge." The note is conveniently written on a Camp Redwood Music Festival flyer. Richter drops his son off with his wife's sister and leaves Alaska bent on revenge, donning his Mr. Jingles rain slicker once again. This was the major twist episode that fans of American Horror Story have been waiting for, and it hits right on time, taking us out of 1984 and into 1989. This has turned into more than just a Friday the 13th homage, to one with a taste of I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, with all the revenge plots coming together. Only 3 episodes remain this season, and it looks like the gang is returning to Camp Redwood for the music festival. It's likely that Madison, Xavier, and Ramirez will have a heyday with the concert goers, while Mr. Jingles and Brooks seek revenge on those who did them wrong. Madison and Chet also want a little payback, so who will get to Margaret first? This was just about what I expected from this season, because I didn't feel they could wrap an entire storyline around one summer at camp. The time jump to 1989 doesn't bother me at all, and it organically opens up a larger storyline for the characters to explore. I will admit, I might have been wrong about Brooke in my earlier speculation about her not making it through to the end, but I wasn't expecting Margaret to throw the blame on her and create the vengeful woman who is now out of prison and traveling with Donna, and a yet-to-be-identified character played by returning favorite Dylan McDermott. I can't wait to see what he's all about in that fake mustache and hair. Additionally, we may still have more time jumps to come. Special effects and makeup artist Carly Herbert recently shared 2 images on her Instagram account announcing the show has been nominated for Best Prosthetics in a TV Show and Best Period Character Makeup in a TV Show. In the post shared by Herbert, the time periods of the 1940s and 2019 are also mentioned. It seems we'll experience some sort of major flashback to the 40s. Could this have more to do with Briarcliff Manor before it became a mental institution for the criminally insane? Could the mention of 2019 mean that the 1984 storyline ends in modern day? This could be a very interesting twist, to say the least, which could also lead to more stories in the future. That's one of the things that I love about this series, the way they seem to tie seemingly meaningless things together in such an important way to the story. If you weren't impressed with last year's Apocalypse and the combination/continuation of the Murder House and Coven storylines, then I don't think we can be friends. That's obviously the most blatant example of what I'm trying to convey, but this series has left tons of little Easter eggs throughout its run and connects all the seasons together. The last 3 episodes should be a thrill ride with all the main characters returning to the scene of the crime, and I can't wait. Although I have my theories, let's just say I'm expecting a full-on bloodbath for the finale. Also, what will happen to the spawn of Jingles, little Bobby? That just opens up yet another potential season down the road that I think would be an amazing exploration into the mind of a serial killer and their offspring. Does he learn what his father did, or at least what he was accused of? Does he know the truth from the sister? Does Richter ever return to claim him? How does he adjust through his youth, teen years, and even adulthood as he learns more and more about his father? Does he begin to feel the same urges that Richter was eventually forced into? I guess time will tell on that one. Are you still digging American Horror Story 1984? If you have any speculation, let's discuss it in the comments below, and stay tuned next week for another Slash Report. We also have Slash Reports for Creepshow and The Walking Dead, along with our new full episode that just dropped last Thursday. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe. DCS out, and we'll see you soon. Woo!